This is Ask Brock. I'm Brock Yorty. This week's question comes from Devin. Brock, we're starting. Should I be checking my mud and rebuilding it? That's a great question. And it starts with having a good drilling program and understanding what we're going to encounter. So, those first couple holes that we drill, if you didn't drill the test holes originally, which never seems to be the case, are really there for dialing in, asking your experts, looking at your bits, looking at your tooling, looking at your drilling fluids, and how your overall system is working out. Next, how often should I check my mud? Every time we see a significant change. Or let's just break this down as simple as possible. I'm going to use a 6-inch bit. So if we take a 6-inch bit and we square it, divide by 24.52, we're going to get about 1.47 gallons per foot. A 20-foot drill rod is going to produce 4 cubic feet of material. So as I get to 100 feet, I have created 20 cubic feet of material. 27 cubic feet in a cubic yard. So we're looking at the amount of solids that we're creating. Now, what's going to change here? If I'm using a PDC bit or if I'm using a tricone bit or a drag bit, is all going to create different solid sizes. So as I have uphold velocity with that centrifugal or that piston pump, how is that deteriorating those solids? This runs right back into when do I rebuild my drilling fluid or when do I start looking at tests? As we get deeper and we don't have as good velocity coming up hole, we're breaking down. That PDC bit is creating smaller cuttings than, say, that tricone, and that drag bit's making great big cuttings. Our bentonites or polymers are acting differently. High yield bentonites are going to break down from shear degradation. There's bentonite in there, but there's a lot of extension polymers. So I want to make sure that I have a cup and funnel on hand, a mud scale, and a sand content. Here's the deal. That 6-inch bit, about 70 feet is 100 gallons. So if I have a 200 or 250 gallon mud pan, I know that I have just displaced 100 gallons of fluid into the hole and 100 gallons of cuttings, or about 16 cubic feet of cuttings into my pan. Now, are those laying on the ground or where are those? If I have a solids control unit and I'm scalping all that stuff off, I know that the long chain polymers are coating out on those big cuttings. And as we're recirculating and using those cones, that we're shearing out the good extender capabilities of that high yield bentonite. And that's going to require rebuilding. So there's lots of different places. I say every 3 rods, we 100% are checking our fluid properties and we're trying to maintain low solids. So I want a drilling fluid that's 8.8 pounds per gallon or less. I want to keep a viscosity that is good for the soil conditions I'm in. If that's sands and gravels, maybe you're a 42 to 50 viscosity. If I'm in clay, high yield bentonite is just a fancy clay that is really good at its job. So I'm not going to have a lot of that. I'm going to have more long chain polymers that are inhibiting, and I need to be looking at those inhibition properties. But the big thing is staying low solids, and I want to keep that sand content under 1%. And there's a lot of people out there right now that are going, Brock, you can be 9.2 for that mud weight, and you can be 2-3%. But here's the threshold. If I'm looking at it at 8.8 pounds per gallon and it hits 9, I can get it to clean back. If I'm looking at sand content that is 1% creeping on to that 2 to 3, I have time to slow down, let my cones catch up, decide if I need a bigger mud pan. I've always thought we could use a poly mud pan, get a bigger volume and still be able to move it around. Challenge one of you guys out there to get a moldings company to do something like that. So every time I'm adding water, I should be actually adding a whole drilling fluid, and that's going to help in that entire situation. Realize when we hit 400 feet with that 1.47 gallons per foot bit cutting that hole, you're about 3 to 3.5 cubic yards. Pickup trucks, 1.5 to 2 cubic yards. Do we have that much solids there, or are they entrained back in the drilling fluid? Because if I have a 9.5 pound mud, it's about 10% solids. It's going to be really hard to shove those loops down the hole. It's going to be hard to grout. That is my plan. Good luck. You get 6-8 holes in, give me a call. I'd love to hear how this is going and if there's any tweaks or any mentors I can pass on to you. Good luck.